Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk podcast. We are back. I'm your host, Dan DeWitt. Thanks for jumping on and joining me. Again, if we get people in here live, we'll see it's the middle of the day on Wednesday, the day after we take down Syracuse at their place in a tough game. Good win, road win for the Tar Heels. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the state win, all the happenings in the state game as well. But yeah, just thanks for being here. Thanks for always supporting the podcast, subscribing, all that good stuff. Pardon my voice. I was going to podcast last night, but I've been dealing with this head cold and I needed the sleep. I feel a little bit better today, but probably don't sound much better. So excuse the nasally voice. Try to make this one shorter again, just so you don't have to listen to it too much. But quite a bit happening here in these two games. So we have State coming to Chapel Hill. We end up with the 80-69 win, but a lot happens. Obviously, the well, I don't know if it is a hard foul. The foul from Leaky Black on Smith, where he goes down and has to be taken out on a stretcher, and it's kind of scary there for a while. But then he also gets the flagrant two, and so Leaky is ejected. What is that, midway or so through the second half. Without Leaky, obviously they're without Smith then from there on. But and then there was the, I thought, harder foul against the offensive foul against Caleb Love, going up to challenge the guy for the layup, and he threw out his arm or elbow. Maybe it was more just how he caught it. Maybe I'm way too biased. I don't know, but that one seemed almost kind of harder than Leaky's did. But obviously the fall for Smith is what made that one worse. And so since then, there's been all the talk of flagrant twos and flagrant ones, and was it just called because of how he fell and the stretcher had to come out and all that stuff. And then there was NC State fans getting after all of us Carolina fans, but yet then Smith is out taking a shot or a picture at the club. He was back in the starting lineup last night for North Carolina State as they get a fairly close win against, that was Notre Dame, I think. But yeah, we get that 80-69 win, led by RJ Davis, 26 points, 14 for 14 from the free throw line. He only shot 5 for 8, so a good percentage, but not necessarily a lot of shots for 26 points. Armando, 23 points, 18 rebounds, and yeah, now I've kind of buried the lead and not even mentioned Armando getting both of his records as he wanted to at home, but he went 7 for 7 from the free throw line. He broke the tie that he had for most double doubles in North Carolina history. So he's at 61 and gets that record. Gets 18 rebounds. He needed 17 to break the record with Tyler Hansborough's rebounding record for all-time rebounds at North Carolina. So he gets both of those. Just a lot happening in this game. But yeah, Caleb Love ends up with 16, 9 for 10 from the free throw line, but didn't shoot well again. 3 for 14, 1 for 5 from three. And then we had Leaky with 9, Pete with 5, and 1 point off the bench from Jalen Washington. But really, the only guy that got significant minutes off the bench was DeMarco Dunn, had 18 minutes. Everybody else was 5 or less that actually played in this game for us. And so we're kind of back to that same thing of where's our bench and are we going to play guys and things like that. But good win for the Tar Heels against a pretty good team against NC State. Obviously, being at home probably helped us. That return game to Raleigh will be very interesting. I know a lot of people already on Twitter and stuff talking about that one. So that'll be interesting. But that comes later in the season. The big guy for NC State gave us a little bit of trouble there, especially when Armando got into some foul trouble. Lots of talk about the free throw shooting discrepancy. They were 12 for 12, so hit 100% of their free throws, but only shot 12. We were 36 for 39. Very good percentage for us. But yeah, but again, and it's been said by plenty of people, but NC State being the team that fouls the most in the ACC, North Carolina being the team that draws the most fouls in the ACC, and that matching up. But people complaining that we're getting all the calls, especially I see Duke people saying we get all these calls after that game. And then when we played Syracuse here, we shot 23 free throws and they shot 3 free throws. But part of that is obviously, them sitting back in the zone and things like that. But saying we get all the calls, and I've seen Duke people complaining that we're getting all the calls, and I just wonder where they've been for the last 40 years with Coach K on their bench, and how come they hadn't said anything about that while he was there. But yeah, we got those games. We'll get into the Syracuse game here real quick, but people coming in here. We got the Nintendo Nerd crazy game last night. Glad we escaped with the win. 300 talking about Leaky's flagrant two. They did Leaky dirty. Nintendo Nerd says the ACC refs are atrocious for sure. 300 was glad to see Tyler Nickel get some minutes. Nice block too. Yeah, I mean we'll get into that Syracuse game here in a minute. But also adding that for a big guy, I won't call him out like that. Come on now. I'm getting middle aged and getting a gut here. We don't need to throw that F word around here about Burns from State, but he is had some good touch, some good moves. Obviously, probably wouldn't hurt if he did lose a couple lbs there. But we got Tar Clone in here. Um, the amount of flopping going on this year seems to have quadrupled. I think it's just worse because of the way the refs are calling it. Like and where that whole flop call has come. Like I mean, when's the last time we've seen a flop call in one of these games? I watch not even just Carolina basketball, but all kinds of college basketball, and we never see that flop call anymore. It's like it's gone away. But yeah, people fall over and they get the charge call. So why wouldn't you? And I could just see the last night that one coming from Edwards when Armando kept backing him down. He wasn't do it, and then boom, got Armando's fourth by just flying over. I know Armando's a strong dude, but for him to just plow somebody over that big and just send him flying like that, it's yeah. But it's been ridiculous all year long. We know that. That charge that Leaky got called for in the Pitt game where the guy didn't even fall over. The one RJ got called for right before half. What team was that? Who was that little guy that pulled him down? I don't remember what game that was. If I look at the schedule, I can probably figure it out. Um, Dirty little point guard. Was it? Yeah, it was Louisville, right? I think it was Louisville right before half. Pretty much pulls Leaky down, or not Leaky. Sorry, pulls RJ down. RJ gets called for the charge foul. Armando's had ton of those where again, there's probably some that he does lower the shoulder, but when guys just go flying like that, they should not get rewarded with a charge call. But yeah, moving on to the Syracuse game, we get the 72-68 win there, led by Pete Nance, who's played all 40 minutes. I think it's, again, we're going to talk about the bench here or lack thereof for us again, but it's different against Syracuse because they do sit in that zone, and we're sitting there passing around trying to break down the zone, and so guys aren't getting as tired and can play more minutes. But Pete played all 40 minutes. 21 points, 8 for 10 from the free throw line, 6 for 17. So he shot it, the most on the team. Shot a lot more, but again, it's kind of he was getting it in the middle of the zone, and he'd square up and he'd have that free throw jumper, and he could drive from there, and a lot more to do. And then he stepped out for a couple of threes as well, but got a lot of his points from the free throw line. 21 points for him. Armando, 18 points, 8 rebounds, so he misses his double there. And this one again, I think the zone has a lot to do with that. Not the same type of game to rebound out of. Caleb Love started off 3 for 3 from the 3-point line. Ended up with 15 points. Only shot seven shots, but was 4 for 7. Like to see that. And again, I think the zone. I don't think this is going to be the norm for Caleb Love. I don't think he's going to shoot 7 to 10 times a game. Again, I think it's the zone plays into that. RJ, kind of a rough game. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for RJ. Shot 4 for 9, 1 for 4. He hit his first 3, and then I guess missed 3 more after that. But rough game for RJ. Got elbowed in the nose, I think I heard the first time, and then right at the end took the charge. And I think that was a good charge. I know the announcers were completely against us, but and they said that's a natural basketball. I mean, I think people have made that move, but I don't think that's a natural basketball move. The guy just had his elbows up, nails RJ in the face. We get the call though. RJ kind of paid the price. Hopefully he's good. I haven't heard much. I've heard that his nose isn't broken, that he's just kind of banged up. Luckily, we have about a week off for him to recover there. But good game for RJ. Minus, I mean, shooting 4 for 9 isn't horrible, but just 9 points for him. But we get out of there with a win. Kind of scary there at the end. We went up 10. And I thought when Edwards, their big guy, got the fourth foul and went out, we ballooned it up to maybe 13 or something like that. I thought we were going to pull away, but credit to Syracuse, they fought back, hit some big shots. Their freshmen were playing well and made it a game, but we get the road win, which we know hasn't always been easy for us. And so we are sitting at 7-4. Sorry, 7-3 in the ACC. Excuse me. Syracuse falls to 6-4 in the ACC, and so I was gonna quickly bring up the ACC standings just because it's been such a hodgepodge after Clemson at the top, um, and see where we're at. But uh, Nintendo said it was Virginia. Okay, so it was Ki Clark that pulled RJ down for that charge right before half. I think you're right now that you say that. 300 says they were beating up RJ last night, and says I like RJ a lot. Hope he stays. Yeah, I mean I don't think his pro prospects are that high right now. Obviously, he can run a team. He can knock down some shots. Pretty small for the NBA. Not that small guys haven't made it, but hopefully with NIL again too, he can make enough to make it worth him coming back. Because yeah, him with some of these young guards that we have coming in, just to teach them and bring them along as they get more minutes. Because again, I had didn't I alluded to it, but didn't say it. Minutes wise, we had our starters, and then we had Tyler Nickel actually, and again zone playing into that some. He knocked down a big three. 12 minutes for Tyler, and then it was 6 for Jalen. Even though I thought he gave us some good minutes there in the first half, Jalen had 6. Dunn had 5 and Trimble had 4. We're barely seeing those guys, especially in the second half. We don't see them a lot. We're down to playing, and I think Puff is still out for this game. I think it was just knee soreness that Hubert said is why he's sitting out. But we're playing, 6, maybe 7 guys each game, and so they're not getting a lot of minutes. So yeah, if RJ could stick around, kind of teach them a little bit, it would be good, obviously, for a program. But yeah, I like RJ's game a lot, and I think it's picking up nationally. People are saying he's flying under the radar because of Caleb Love and Armando Baycott, or he's our X factor. And I've heard several people kind of allude to stuff like that about RJ lately. So Nintendo Nerd says they were beating up Mando too with barely any foul calls. How can you expect anyone to score when the refs won't call foul on all that content? And I think Armando let out his frustration a little bit last night. There was one time Edwards kind of popped him with an elbow as he swung through, didn't get called, and then Armando kind of went and kind of shoved him to play defense. So the frustration is there. Yeah, the refs got to be careful here. Like someone's going to get hurt because people were saying that in the state game too when tempers were flaring. I think Caleb when he got elbowed on that offensive charge or offensive play, kind of came back with and was saying stuff and getting a little chippy. So um, 300 says Hubert Davis and those recruits. Yeah, recruits, especially for the 24 class, not next year, but the year after, looking good and still not done, it sounds like. They're still working on local guys. So Tarclone says a couple of fast breaks for Cuse came after our 3-point shooters didn't get back after they missed. Quite clear the Cuse guy contesting was sprinting back. Veterans making these mistakes are frustrating. Yeah, I mean, well, they had some young guys step up too, but yeah, what's his name for Syracuse, the veteran, the shooter, Gerard. They said it early on in the broadcast of how he might be the smartest player, and he's not athletic, but he knows how to get his shot off. But yeah, the young guys were beating us out a little bit as we were getting lazy. Um, and we definitely didn't play the perfect game. It wasn't anything pretty last night, but we did get the win. I think we have to remember that. But anyway, I pulled up the ACC standings here. So obviously Clemson up at the top. Oh my goodness! Now where did it go? It just disappeared on me here as I was trying to see more here. Come on, it's going. All right, we gotta go to Atlantic Coast apparently. All right, we got Clemson 9-1, Virginia 7-2, and then we have what four teams with 3 losses: Miami, Florida with us, Wake Forest, and Pittsburgh. So obviously we beat Wake Forest, we got the tiebreaker with them, not as much to worry about. Pittsburgh beat us. We got them coming to our place next. Try to get some payback there. We got to play Miami yet. Not sure. I don't remember if we go down there or they come to us. And then we got three more teams with 4 losses: NC State, Syracuse, Duke. Florida State's at 500, and then the rest of the teams. I mean, Virginia Tech obviously beat us, and they just beat Duke for their second win in the ACC, but don't have to worry about them as much, I don't think. I think it's probably a little bit late for them to turn their season around. But we also don't have an easy stretch coming forward. We got, quite the schedule coming up. Obviously, I mentioned Pitt coming to our place next week. That'll be Wednesday, a week from today when I'm recording. And then we follow that up on that Saturday with our first Duke game, which again, you can say Duke isn't as good. This year, John Shire's first year, they just, let's see, one of their top recruits. I don't remember if it was Lively or what's the other guy's name? I just had it in my head. I think it was Lively though that went down with an injury. Could be serious, so they could be without him. But I think again, you throw that stuff out. It's going to be at Duke. No wait, it's at Duke because last year the last one was at their place. The first one's at their place this time. So it's at their place. You throw out the records and you throw the ball up in that one. So and it doesn't get easier from there either as we look at the schedule. So Nintendo says Miami is at Chapel Hill. So I guess let's go there next. Our schedule, like I said, we got Pittsburgh coming to our place next Wednesday, and that's February. So now we're jumping into a new month as well. 7 p.m. Eastern tip on the ACC network. And then, like I said, Duke at their place. That's 6:30 p.m. Eastern on that Saturday, the 4th, on ESPN. And then we go to Wake Forest, Clemson at home. So there we get our shot at the top of the people at the top of the team at the top of the ACC. Hopefully Wake Forest we can beat if we keep playing like this. We think we could beat Wake Forest even though it's at their place. Clemson, we'll see. That's at home. And then we follow up. We play. So this is back to back. This is a tough stretch, not only because of who we play, but because of the dates. But Saturday we play Clemson at home. Luckily, they're both at home. But then we turn around and play Miami at home on that Monday, February 13th. So yeah, tough stretch not only because of who we play, and we follow that up going to State. Hopefully, we get a little bit of a break going to Notre Dame, Virginia at home, Florida State at their place, and then finish up with Duke at home. So yeah, it doesn't get any easier. We still got. It seems like it always the end of our ACC schedule is obviously there's Duke in there twice in the second half of our ACC schedule, but it seems like we always kind of end up with a tough one. But yes, Miami is at home, but that's on a Monday turnaround from a Saturday playing Clemson at home. So luckily we don't have to travel for those games, but that's still going to make it pretty interesting. Um, I don't know that I would predict us to win the ACC. I think I would probably pick Miami. No, sorry, Virginia. Miami's maybe got a shot depending on how it goes, but I think I'd probably pick Virginia as the likely winner right now. If Clemson can hold on to it, credit to them. But to me, I think I would pick Virginia right now if I had to pick an ACC winner. We're going to have our chances, though. Like I said, we're going to play Virginia. We can knock them down. We're going to play Clemson. We can knock them down. We're going to play Miami. We can knock them down. Wake Forest, Pittsburgh. I mean, those are the top 6, 7 teams right there. State. We play again. So you go down to Syracuse, which is right now in 8th place, is the first team that we don't play again the rest of the way in ACC play, and then right after them is Duke. We play them twice, Florida State, and so the bottom, 6 teams we play Florida State once and Notre Dame once, both at their place, and that's the only 2 teams out of the bottom we get to play in the ACC the rest of the way. So tough schedule for sure coming up. Again, it comes down to me to kind of bench play. We cannot be playing Mando and Pete and RJ and Caleb and all this stuff, 35 to 38 minutes a game and expect to, those turnover or those quick turnover games and 2 games a week and playing all those minutes. It's going to catch up to them. But it seems like Hubert is stuck on, at least for right now. Kind of, again, it's been said several places, but he's stuck on the NBA rotation. It's more about matchups. It's more about situational substitutions than anything else, and otherwise we're going to ride our top guys. Um, and yeah, I know I feel like I've let my opinion been be made, my thoughts be made on that. So I don't think we need to go into that, but um, yeah, we'll see what coming up. Obviously, Pittsburgh, I would expect to win. I feel like we should have won at their place. I don't think they're playing as good as they were then. But it's also a team that we could turn around and lose to if we're shooting poorly, if we don't focus. I mean, we've seen it for 2 years now. This team has got to be locked in and playing the way they need to play. Going through Armando and taking good shots, getting out on the break a little bit, stepping up the defense. Our defense was not good against Syracuse whatsoever last night. I think that's one thing that could be said, and maybe I haven't. Is we were not good defensively last night against Syracuse. So those things, again, we can probably beat anybody in this conference. I feel confident about that, but I feel like almost I don't want to say we'd lose to anybody. I don't think we're going to lose to Louisville or Boston College, some of the teams down there, but we don't really play them either. So we need to be locked in every night the rest of the way here. Um, to stay, at least in the top half of the ACC, hopefully stay in the top 4 seeds as far as the ACC tournament comes along, or even give ourselves a chance at winning the ACC regular season here. Like I said, we play all those top teams, we can knock them down, but we have to stay locked in, stay focused, and get those wins when they mean it. And that'll obviously help our seeding for the NCAA tournament as well. So we'll see how it goes. I thank you guys for jumping on and joining. We got 8 people watching here, but even the people listening later as I get this out to the other audio podcasts. Thanks for listening. Go hit that likes button if you're watching live here. Leave a review if you're listening later, or simply the best way you can probably do is just share with other Tar Heel fans. And we'll keep uniting Tar Heel Nation and joining the ride as we go here. So thanks for jumping in, guys. I will see you guys. Well, I didn't talk about that, but I don't know when we'll go because we'll probably wait till after the Duke game. Maybe I don't know if we'll do a Duke preview. Maybe, but I will see you guys next time. Go Heels.